The moment Mara Ellington lifted her trembling hand from the open safe, she felt her entire future collapse in front of her. She wasn't a thief. She wasn't a liar. She was a daughter trying desperately to save the only family she had left. But none of that mattered now, because standing silently in the doorway of the Armand estate office was Donovan Hale, the icy millionaire known for firing staff over the smallest mistakes. Mara didn't see him. But he saw everything. And what he saw didn't look like theft. It looked like a young woman breaking apart. Before we continue, tell us in the comments. What would you have done if you were in Mara's place? Now, let's go back to where it all began. Chapter 1, The Weight She Carried. The midday sun spilled across the marble floors of the Armand estate, turning the silent corridors into glowing rivers of light. The mansion was rich, elegant, and painfully quiet, like a museum that remembered better days. Mara Ellington walked those halls every morning, her soft footsteps echoing through the stillness. She wasn't born into wealth. She wasn't raised in places with polished floors and priceless chandeliers. But she moved through every room with grace and respect, as if she understood the quiet sorrows trapped in the old walls. Mara once dreamed of becoming a nurse. Someone who fought illness, brought comfort, restored hope. But life had its own cruel handwriting. Her mother's sudden illness had pulled her out of school, drained their savings, and chained her to a reality she never chose. Every bill felt like another stone on her chest. Every day was a reminder that she was falling behind. Working as a housekeeper at the Armand estate wasn't her dream, but it was her lifeline. And the man who owned the estate, Donovan Hale, was a lifeline she never wanted to depend on. He was wealthy, brilliant, and famously cold. The kind of man who spoke in clipped sentences and walked with the rigid silence of someone holding his soul behind locked doors. Rumors whispered that he was never the same after losing his wife 2 years earlier. The mansion reflected that grief, beautiful but hollow, decorated but lifeless. Yet somehow, Donovan noticed Mara. Not in the way employers notice workers, but in tiny moments. The way she paused before dusting his late wife's photographs. The way she arranged fresh flowers because she believed scent brought life to dead spaces. The way her presence softened the mansion's frozen air. He didn't understand why she affected him. He only knew it made it harder to stay cold. Then the call came. The call that tore Mara's world apart. Her neighbor's frantic voice. "Mara, your mother collapsed, she's barely breathing." Everything blurred after that. The hospital. The doctors. The life-saving treatment that demanded money she didn't have. Money they refused to wait for. Policies were policies. And desperation is a storm that shatters even the most honest hearts. The next morning, Mara returned to work with swollen eyes and trembling hands. She cleaned in silence, fighting the thought she didn't want. If I could just borrow something, anything, just for now. She told herself she wasn't a thief. She told herself she would return everything. She told herself she had no choice. So when she found herself in the office during lunch break, staring at the safe, the battle between her heart and her fear reached its breaking point. She opened the ledger, pretending. She touched the safe, hesitating. She felt tears burn her eyes, breaking. And that was when Donovan walked in. Silently. Unseen. Watching. Not with anger. But with recognition. Because he knew the shape of desperation. He carried it once too. And in Mara's shaking hands, he saw a reflection of the worst moment of his own life. Chapter 2, The Moment That Changed Everything. When Mara finally sensed someone behind her, she turned. Her breath stopped. Donovan Hale. Cold. Powerful. Unforgiving. Her world collapsed. She expected him to shout. To accuse her. To fire her. To call security. To destroy whatever remained of her dignity. But Donovan didn't speak. Not at first. He stepped forward, slowly, like he was approaching a wounded animal. His eyes flicked from her trembling hands to the open safe and back to her tear-stained face. Instead of anger, he gently closed the safe door. That single motion broke her more than any yelling would have. "Mara, what's wrong?" His voice wasn't sharp. It was soft. Concerned. Like someone who cared. The question sliced through her remaining strength. Her knees weakened. Her lips quivered. And everything she held inside came pouring out. The bills. The illness. The fear. The helplessness. The shame. She didn't ask him to forgive her. She didn't ask him for money. She didn't ask him for anything. She only asked him to understand. When she finished, she stood trembling, waiting for her punishment. But Donovan didn't fire her. He didn't judge her. He didn't question her honesty. Instead, he did something unimaginable. He helped her. Quietly. Swiftly. Without conditions. That same day, her mother was admitted to the hospital. The bills, paid anonymously. The medication, covered. The stress on Mara's shoulders, lifted. When she tried to refuse, Donovan simply said, "Once, someone saved me when I couldn't save myself. Helping you, is my way of passing that kindness forward." Those words stayed with her. Not because he was a millionaire. But because he was a man who understood pain. Weeks passed. Her mother recovered. And Mara returned to work, not out of obligation, but out of gratitude and newfound strength. Something changed in the mansion too. Rooms that once felt cold began to feel warm. Silence that once felt heavy became peaceful. And the distance between two hurt souls slowly faded. They didn't fall in love overnight. They didn't make promises or confessions. They simply healed, side by side. Mara learned that desperation can push even good people to dark edges. But compassion can pull them back. Donovan learned that kindness doesn't just save the person receiving it. It also saves the one giving it.